Good day, everyone. Welcome to another episode of
Mom and Son Podcast. This is Rose Fres Fausto, also known as FQ Mom.
And Anton Fausto the Son. Today's episode, I got to sit down and chat and talk to one of my good friends, Rocky Alli. We met back in college. We were actually co-hosts for the first...
I really like that.
Yes, RIB I ever hosted
one of my
for
favorites,
Cats.
yes.
Yeah, so he's one of the people that founded Pino Studios. He's a graphic designer.
Pino Studio. Yeah.
Pino, as in Filipino. Parang ganun sabi
Ah,
niya.
okay.
Yeah, and here we talk about the importance of having different creative outlets, his story on how he became a graphic designer. This profession is something that I'm pretty sure it's new. Back in your day,
Wala yan.
Wala masyadong...
Drawing ka dyan.
Oo, yeah, but now it's an emerging profession.
Yes.
And there's a lot of...
Opportunities for
Yeah,
that.
there's a lot of opportunities and more art is brought into the world through this
Yes.
profession.
And I really like what's happening then these days now. The artists are now being recognized. I mean, an artistic job is being recognized as a job.
Yes.
It's a legitimate occupation. Kasi nung araw, parang masyadong opisina lang. Kung hindi ka doktor,
When did you feel
lawyer.
like this happened? That
Yan.
the change of mindset, at least of your generation.
Alam mo, hindi pa masyadong matagal Just siguro several years at most. Kasi, di ba, may mga kwento na
when
animation.
Facebook was alive na, parang ganun.
Siguro. Yes. Probably, yan ang it spread the word that, hey, this is a real job. And you can really earn from it, no?
And companies really need these also.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so let's get to it. Here's my interview with Rocky. Okay, so joining me today, we got brand designer, graphic designer, Rocky Alli. Yeah!
What's up?
Yeah! Thanks, man. Thank you for the time and for welcoming me here to your room.
Thank you for having me, man.
Gulat ako when I came in here. Just to give like a brief description. There's so many, how do you call this,
Miniatures, yeah.
miniatures. I think you can tell a lot about someone by his stuff, by like his hobbies. And the reason why I'm saying that is because your attention to detail is very intricate, it's very intense, and it would take someone with intense attention to detail to be able to really paint. Because your style is not just normal people would just like get the mage knights or the tiny action figures, but you actually paint.
Oh yeah.
You actually where did this start? Did someone teach you, or did you just sort of pick up the habit of when I play D&D, I'm gonna make my own?
Well, I've always had a fascination for Lord of the Rings ever since I was young, and I guess growing up with not that much allowance, I always kind of admired the toys that I couldn't buy. And I think I came across the miniatures and I was like, oh, I want to buy it, but they were so expensive, and buying the paints were also so expensive. But
now you got money.
Yeah, but now I got money, so it's like I'm living my childhood dream. And I think the nice thing about painting is that versus getting it pre-painted, it already has its own colors. You can kind of personalize it a bit.
There's an emotional, different emotional value.
It's like you're infusing your own vision upon like what they should look like hair color, and all the way to like what stuff they're wearing and stuff like that. So yeah, in terms of learning the skill, I think it was really a lot of self-teaching, but eventually when I got into miniatures again in college through Patrick Donald Tang, miss you, buddy. He's
the one who got you into it.
Yeah, and then he looked at my miniatures and he's like, "There's too much paint. You have to thin your paint." And I was like, "Oh my gosh!" So every time I paint, I just remember him saying to me, "Yo, thin your paint because it has to look smooth, clean. Otherwise, it's gonna look super thick." So yeah, gotta keep up with the standard,
Wow. Okay, another random question din pala.
Yo.
So Rocky is always in black and always I would
Wakanda forever.
I would say na naiingit ako because you don't really sweat.
No, I don't. It's really weird.
Yeah. So would you wear long sleeves in your house just for?
Usually a t-shirt naman in the house, but when it comes to going out, just to be safe.
Always long sleeves in Manila and pants.
I like feeling warm rather than.
But I've never seen your legs.
I do have one pair of shorts, and people are like, nice knees, bro.
Do you sleep wearing pants?
Yeah. I sleep with like
really?
joggers. Yeah.
Oh,
because
aircon life.
Every point of the day I need to feel warm. I mean, even if it's cold, like I like the idea of feeling warm in cold weather. And if it's warm, pwede rin because it's warm. It's weird. It's super weird.
What do you remember the last time you sweat?
I mean, dancing, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
In college.
Let's just jump to that.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Dude, Rocky's real name actually is Antimatter.
Oh my God.
How do you? That's your b-boy name.
Yeah. That was.
Did you give that to yourself?
Yeah. It was in high school. We actually a lot of the b-boys were actually part of physics class, and the cool thing was our physics teacher would also give us tips on like momentum and like force and acceleration and stuff like that.
Did you teach you dance or?
No, he did. Well, I mean, he was just one of those like American white teachers that you know
kind of knows about the break scene.
Knows it, and then he has like the headband, and he'd like kind of like pose, but in actuality, he really didn't know how to dance.
And then he'd give you tips on breakdancing.
Well, I mean, we would always hang out with him, and then I guess what was cool was during class he came up with like he taught us like a lot of cool names. Like tachyon is like
tachyon.
It's like a term for a very fast particle.
Ooh, and did someone name themselves B-boy tachyon?
Yeah.
It is a B-boy name.
Parang that was like one of the inspirations.
And you are Antimatter
because everyone was like, dude, you kind of look different. Parang you're trying to negate what everyone else is doing versus like regular matter. And I was like, sige, Antimatter lang. And then I was like, yeah, parang being original, being fresh, trying to negate what the other person is doing. I think that's super important.
Wow, and it looks like it's something that you've carried to the other aspects of your life.
For sure. I mean, like all the experiences that you get from like one creative like discipline, you can definitely carry over to many others. And I think that, I mean, especially in the creative fields, you add value to your art when you can take from different experiences. Like in high school, I loved doing theater because it allowed me. Yeah, I love being on stage and being able to kind of like project like different personas that I wouldn't necessarily be able to do, you know, in the streets.
Okay.
And then
in the streets, let's go.
I mean, like, but then after,
they can't know my true colors.
But after like being in theater, you realize that technically, like what you do on stage, you can actually do in real life. You know. So I mean,
it's not fake in the game.
Yeah, I mean, it just gives you the confidence to project what you want to say, which is great. I mean, you can use that anywhere, and theater was just a good place to practice that. For dancing, it's really the idea of, you know, groove to your own beat, be who you want to be, and whatever. And
it's kind of connected. Alright, let's go. Can we go through your creativity chronology?
Sure.
So what was the first
inkling?
To any art form or. Because right now, your creativity is your moneymaker. Like that is how you, that is how you buy your paints and your miniature toys. So where did it start? Was it dancing first, theater?
It actually started super young. So I have yet to take you around the house, but like I think growing up, especially with my dad being very much into art, a lot of the time, subconsciously I'd be exposed to a lot of different paintings, a lot of different sculptures and art.
Does your dad paint or he's into?
Like I've never seen him personally make artwork, but that's an interesting story. I don't know if I should touch on that like later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Actually, we'll touch on that later.
Okay.
It's a cool story. So yeah, I mean, from a very very young age, he would always like, you know, buy paintings, and in the house it would never be dull. It would always be colorful. There always be textures, styles, and even as a kid, even if I didn't necessarily understand it, it's like it was a lot of different stimuli kind of molding
the exposure
way.
to it.
Yes. And I think as early as then, I had such a fascination with buying new sets of color pencils. So like, you know, being able to...
I feel like every kid had that. No, mine would be the Crayola. You know when you get the 64. Actually, I never got the 64.
Dude,
I'm an 8 or 16.
Okay.
We didn't have much growing up. Okay, sorry. So you were saying your colored pencils.
Yeah, and then I mean, it sounded like as early as I can remember, the thing that I always wanted to do, because the brand that I had was some like Malaysian brand. I used to live in Malaysia, and then
you lived in Malaysia. Were you born there? Or you were born here?
No. I was born here, and then moved around because of my dad.
Okay.
And then there was like this guy on a spaceship, and I was super intrigued with like kind of like, it sounds really weird, but like bringing him out to life, as in like I really wanted to like carve in the pencil so that he would come out to life. Obviously, it wouldn't happen because it's 2D. But I guess that fascination of being exposed to so many paintings and the fact that I really wanted to bring this thing to life was already an indication, looking back, that I really wanted to be or do something creative.
Yeah.
And then after that, started to get into illustration. Never really formally pursued it, but I would always enjoy art classes, and teacher would always kind of be like, you have a fascination for drawing, but you're super messy. And I was like,
were you good as a kid na in drawing? Did you know that you were good? Because there are some kids who just know na, oh, this guy's, like, his doodles are nice. Mine aren't. It's just...
I think some teachers would recognize that, but the problem was, like, I guess I have sweaty palms, so even if it was good, sometimes I would also smudge it.
Okay.
So parang they would kind of recognize it, but they would be like,
sweaty? Do you have sweaty palms until now?
I do.
Oh, that's where it goes. That's where all the sweat goes.
Yeah. I guess that's fair. Oh no.
Okay, sorry.
Oh no. Yeah. So then, I mean, teachers could kind of see, like, this guy has, like, perception to form and whatever, but parang at the end of the day, it's super messy. Like, my desks were always messy. Medyo kalat yung ideas ko, and I think people just didn't know what I wanted to do. My parents all were like, if you want to go to art school, go. And I was like, but I don't know. Like,
oh, okay. So
yeah, it's kind of confusing.
They were supportive, naman.
Yeah, they were super supportive. I guess I just didn't know what to make of it as early as then. But then I guess maybe coming into middle and high school, like, I would go on MS Paint. Like, I loved MS Paint. Like, I would be one of those, like, weird people who, if I knew YouTube and how to make videos, I'd probably make a tutorial on, like,
on MS Paint.
On MS Paint. Like, those, like, crafty niche videos. And yeah, I didn't actually pursue art in high school, but there were other things that I wanted to pursue. Like, I mean, in high school, I don't know about you, but, like, in our high school, everyone had a thing.
Okay.
Like, people were known for something.
Yeah. I started dancing by then. And I get it. Before dancing, before, like, grade 6, grade 7, I was just like parang wagaga, just a normal kid.
Yeah.
And then when I started dancing, it became, the guy who dances.
Right.
Everyone needs to have that thing they do.
Yeah, you need to build an identity. And, I mean, a lot of people had different ones. People played certain sports. People, like, playing music. And for me, it was like, I mean, I enjoyed a lot of the things, but I didn't have that one thing. And so I tried a lot of things. I tried b-boying. I think b-boying was probably the biggest thing.
b-boying started in
high school.
High school. Na.
Yeah, we had a small group, again, the physics guys.
Did you have a name?
We were called Riot Kings.
Riot Kings.
Yeah.
I was hoping, like, the scientists.
Oh, yeah, parang street scientists or something like that. That'd be cool.
Let's take it to the classroom.
Yeah. And I also tried theater because, I mean, everyone is saying before graduating, you at least need to join one play. And I was like, sure, well, I'll give it a shot.
Okay.
And wala, parang those two things kind of brought out a lot in terms of being able to express ideas, or at least articulate maybe a certain direction that I wasn't able to before. So at least then and there in high school, it was easy for me to say, I was like, okay, for sure I'm not going corporate, for sure I'm not doing something business oriented. I am creative. I don't know what kind of creativity that is, but at least I know.
But the important thing was you were honing that creativity, even if you weren't sure which avenue.
Yeah.
Basta you get you get challenged all the time, and you get to express it.
Yeah.
I heard this. I read this thing somewhere that for sports, it's important. Example, if you want to be a good basketball player, it's important. It's good also if, as a kid, you had more than one sport. Hindi basketball.
Oh yeah,
like basketball, swimming, or football. So I only thought of this now. Na in creativity also, it's important to have more than just one creative outlet. So if you want to be a really good dancer, it's good if you were into, like, art or photography
piano
or something.
lessons, like every Asian kid.
Yeah. Oh man, that didn't help me.
No.
I just learned one song.
But I think
in
it's
5 years.
It's kind of like, because I think the person who said it was James Victor. He's a graphic designer in New York. He would say is, if you don't know what you want to do, try everything, take a break, and then when you come back to the drawing board, the first thing that comes to mind is more or less what you want to do.
Oh.
And I think, I mean, we probably as Asian kids, we have a lot of exposure to different activities.
Yes.
Our parents put us through dance. Our parents put us through
swimming,
or CrossFit, or I don't know, like any cool, like, new athletic thing that is popular. But I think what we don't realize in retrospect is that those are actually options for us to choose from.
Yeah.
And then maybe maturing into adulthood, it's like, maybe I didn't choose those, but at least I had the benefit of choosing from
Yeah, and it's also how you need to know. But to know what you like, you have to know what you don't like.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
You kind of have to go around.
Yeah.
Just because let's say you tried out baseball and then you suck at it.
Yeah.
It's not a waste because at least okay, I should focus my time on
other
probably something else.
Yeah, for sure.
And when did you decide and know that you wanted to be a graphic designer? That this is where you were gonna more or less focus on.
So in college, I actually got in for economics. I loved economics in high school.
Was that your course?
Yes.
And
yes.
you graduated?
No, initially that was
Okay.
what I came in as, because I actually tried in for BS management. They didn't get in for that, but they got me for my second requested course, which is economics.
Okay.
And I enjoyed it in high school. I didn't really enjoy it much in college because the professor was definitely different, and I guess economics from that kind of perspective didn't really intrigue me, or at least the way that he taught it.
Okay.
So then one of my friends kind of approached me, and he's like, maybe you should take a break. Can you just help me with our thesis project? We have this USB card that we want to promote.
USB card.
Yeah.
The one you can put in the wallet.
Yeah.
It's a USB.
That was when that was popular.
Uh-huh.
And then he was like, "Can you design us just like a creative poster and whatever?"
Oh,
and I was
okay.
like, I didn't even have like Photoshop or Illustrator.
Did you
or
go back to
anything.
MS Paint?
Dude, I did everything on MS Paint.
MS Paint?
Yeah,
Okay.
and then he's like, "Dude, this is so cool. Sige. Yeah, I mean, like you should look into information design, which is like the graphic design course."
Okay.
And then I was like, "Oh, okay." So then Arthur was the one who suggested. He actually shifted then, among the many other courses that he shifted. He was saying, "Yeah, basically you can make money off being creative," and I was like, "What?
Yeah.
There's such a thing? No way!
This is just a hobby.
I thought Ateneo was known for like business and everything, but they have creative courses. Sige, I'll look into it." So yeah, and I applied. The guy, when he looked at my first portfolio, was like, you're very crude. You have MS Paint like as your works, and a lot of the things that you need to do need to be refined. But
This is when you were going to information design.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then everything from there. I mean, my grades plummeted from economics, but after that, oh my gosh, you could see.
What year was this when you?
I shifted late. You're supposed to shift in second.
That's
second
why
year.
you had the fifth year.
But I only started ID beginning of third year.
Oh, okay.
So 5 years.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, but by the way, Rocky and I were org mates in CADS, the Complete
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Florida.
That's your boy. Yeah. But you never joined the street division, no?
I tried first year.
You didn't get in first year?
No, because that was the first time I ever tried choreo.
Okay.
Yeah,
You were B-boy gang. It's a different game.
It's a different game for sure.
That really helped me though. B-boy was my beginnings. Like it's there. I feel like it's the reason why I'm always confident. Because in B-boy you have to be kapal na mukha. If you're gonna like, my favorite thing was to like challenge, battle the coaches. So
Teaches you confidence talaga.
yeah, but it's more it's kind of like confidence masked in I'm the kid and I guess why you can kind of do what you want. So it's okay because if you're kind of old and you kind of suck and then you challenge the coach, parang what are you doing, man? You're gonna get yourself killed.
It
But
allows
if
you
it's
to
a
be
kid,
young.
but if you're a kid, you can risk it, man.
For sure.
Yeah,
for
just go
sure.
for it.
I think I remember seeing you B-boy like. But
Really?
Yeah. As in,
Okay.
like I saw a lot of doc videos, and then I mean
Oh.
the in between sessions where you guys would
We had with Gabe. Gabe set up this thing called
Doc
IBC. Yes.
Oh my god! I saw those videos.
I was
That was so great.
I think I was second or third.
Obviously, Gabe first.
No.
Bagos.
Noel.
Oh, okay.
I think Noel got
Of
first.
course.
Yeah. Comparing to your story, like with me, when it comes to hosting, the b-boying, the dancing, those all kind of added up in radio
Yeah.
to hosting. And I
Right.
was also shocked in college when I started getting gigs for debuts and wow, I can get paid for talking.
Yeah.
So yeah, that kind of shaped my naman. Okay, going deeper into the graphic designing life, how do you find the balance? Okay, kasi there's this thing, people always talk about how they should get paid for their work.
Yes.
And I would see this since I was a student, and I thought, coming from a profession, quote-unquote profession at that
Right.
time, na there has to be a balance between, you should pay me for my work, like value my work. At the same time, parang you also have to work to get exposure. Parang you have to
building your name.
Yeah, how did you sort of draw the line between doing work for exposure and for the love of it, and for the money factor of it?
Well, I think my dad was a really good role model for that. He just said, for anything that you engage in, even if it's your friends all the more should be the ones to support you in building your craft. So the first rule that he thought was always get paid for what you think you're worth. Now, obviously, when you start off, you're probably not going to get paid a lot because you need to insert yourself within the industry.
Like example, the thesis that the USB thing, was that free or were you paid?
They paid me very, very small.
Okay.
Very, very small.
But I think the fact that there's a payment is already...
I mean... Yeah, like it's a transaction at the end of the day, and I mean, obviously, people who are starting out, the danger that they run into is that the industry actually dictates what they should be making because the industry has more experience than them.
Yeah,
but
and the industry is bigger and
yes, but you obviously need to tip that scale eventually. So the more confident you grow, the more aware you are of what style you bring or what kind of personality you bring to, I guess, a project or a client. Obviously, that kind of tips the scale in the other direction. You can slowly say, okay, like, I feel my value in the industry is much more. I can push for this more without being rejected. Or if ever I am rejected, they're obviously not the client for me.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's like initially starting off in graphic design, start off with 5,000. 5,000 is dirt cheap, but as a college student, getting allowance from your parents or whatnot, baka that's obviously a huge value to you at that moment in time. When you maybe start freelancing a bit more, maybe getting editorial projects, baka you can already start maybe for like a logo instead of 5,000, charge them 20,000. You bring it with like a brand manual or whatever. Becomes a package deal na, and they see that okay, this guy obviously isn't just a college student giving me a logo. This guy knows what he's doing. So
you have to show then.
You have to show the value in your
you
experience.
have already. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure when you go to auditions for maybe hosting or whatever, versus somebody who's going in for the first time, it's not like you're gonna be like, okay, just tell me what to say and I'll just read off a script. You obviously bring in your quirks. You obviously bring in maybe like certain jokes or certain. Opportunities to interact with the audience.
There has to be something from you.
Exactly.
Also.
And that's what they pay for. They pay for the experience and all, I guess, the hours that you put into cultivating.
Because even if, let's say, you hire graphic designer A or graphic designer B, A knows that he has to kind of show that, I'm really, this is what I do, and B, let's say B is actually better, but then he's just okay, just tell me what to make. And
exactly.
You might still people would want to go for A because of the whole experience and the whole professionalism that's attached to it.
And it's kind of tied into that idea that, if you charge higher, while it is more expensive, people actually perceive subconsciously the quality to be higher as well. It's because if you're confident to charge that amount, more or less they're thinking to themselves, okay, he can think for me, or he or she can think for me, which is a huge burden, especially for clients.
And that's kind of part of the reason why they're getting you in the first place.
It's the security of okay, I've gotten somebody who can take the worry off.
But when you were in college, was it like were you always paid for the work, or did you have those exposure gigs?
I think the benefit of, I guess, being able to really develop it, like I developed what I wanted to do very, very early. I really knew that I wanted to be a brand designer. So in terms of charging, that was not really a problem. It was really just more of the amount. But there will obviously be certain projects where a friend couldn't pay, or it was a project that I really liked, and more than actually getting like monetary income, it was really more of like psychic income.
Sorry,
psychic income.
Oh, that's the first time I heard of it.
It's a term that my dad uses. It's like you don't necessarily have to always be compensated through money. Sometimes it's the joy of doing something.
Yeah.
And that can compensate the difference between how much you should be getting paid and how much you are actually.
I get it. Psychic. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, when you look at jobs, for example, it's, are you getting paid enough? Maybe not. Are you getting enough psychic income from the actual work that you're doing? And maybe in the long run, it'll bridge the difference between what you're not making and maybe possibly motivating you to climb up the ranks, earn what you need to do.
When you value your work, when you sort of have, because it's always a challenge to put the monetary value to something abstract, to to a creative outlet.
Yeah.
Do you do it do you base it off like how much time you spend on it, or like what's the way to value logos, graphic design in general?
Okay. Well, I think it's two factors. One of the things that you need to look into, obviously, is start from yourself. Whether it's logo design, hosting, or even like being a dancer, I think what you have to do is look at, for one thing, look at your skill and how much are you putting into making that craft a thing. So, for example, me as a designer, like if I had to pay for electricity bills, if I had to pay for computer use, if I had to pay for maybe like going to a cafe and paying for my coffee to motivate me.
Okay.
Those are things that you kind of consider within the cost. And maybe other things that you would consider lifestyle, if you can maintain a certain, standard.
It's a personal thing.
It's a personal thing. And I mean, obviously clients don't want to pay for it, but obviously you want to you want to gain something from the work that you do. So you might want to consider that, but I mean, unless the work is good, it's harder for you to infuse that. But anyway, from that, you kind of more or less get a cost, and that's more or less your rate for working. And if you want to put markup, that's another thing. So that's your rate for maybe, let's say, a week. So let's say it takes me 10 hours to make a logo, from like, submitting the actual design all the way to the revisions, 10 hours of continuous work, and then divided by maybe like the cost, I'll get a rate. And that's what I usually charge for clients. So let's say for another project, it's a book and it's 80 pages. I just times that rate as my multiplier.
Okay.
So that's just from working with myself, or maybe even the studio. When it comes to, let's say, working for specific clients, obviously there are small clients, there are medium clients, there are big clients. And you obviously
price it differently.
You obviously need to work within their need, because they have budgets, and you have to respect their budget at the end of the day. I mean, you can obviously say that I only work to this amount, and if you're smaller than that, I mean, respect to your budget, but obviously respect to my cost as well.
Oh, okay. So it's two ways.
Yes. So for the smaller clients, you can say, okay, I can adjust my price to like the bare minimum of where I can work. But for example, let's say you're working with a corporation, you don't just give your minimum cost. You also pay for the exposure of your work. So for example, if like I saw the rebrand of Yahoo kanina. Yahoo rebranded. It's kind of cool.
Not the face anymore. Not
they took out the face, I think. It's like modernized, and then they italicized the exclamation point.
Does anyone still? What does Yahoo do kaya now?
I think they're still trying to.
Gmail is the email.
Well, I think Google in every aspect is
and
the standard.
The search and YM's dead.
Yeah, right? But I think maybe to a certain generation, because like my parents still use Yahoo Mail.
Oh, really?
So I think, I mean, maybe in that generation where Yahoo and Google were kind of neck and neck, there's still that loyalty from maybe those kinds of users.
I get it.
And so while they probably have lost so much market share with Google being, on the rise, the fact that they're still in the game, they're still trying to create content and still trying to be relevant with the rebrand, especially, super cool. Yeah, so like imagine going to Yahoo. You're not just gonna charge a small company fee. Like you're also gonna charge for the idea that millions and millions of people are gonna see your work. And I'm sure it's the same for hosting. You're not gonna charge the same for a small event of like maybe 100, 150. You're gonna be in a stadium. You obviously want to buy into the exposure and how you're contributing to that big event. So you obviously scale up to the propensity for that client to pay as well.
That's something I find it's a challenge then for me now. The rates talaga. That would be probably one of my least favorite things about hosting. And since it's especially if it's a friend or or a relative, and then they go to you directly, parang it's kind of hard to parang put the price on it.
For sure.
For one, kasi we don't wanna seem cheap, but at the same time, we don't wanna. I really don't wanna yung mukhang pera. And,
yes.
You're only doing this naman for the money, ganyan.
Yes.
But then you really have to. Someone's gotta pay for the miniatures and paints.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, the thing that you could do is that you always give your standard professional price to show that you're still a professional, creative, and so you say, tita, tito. I can definitely host your gig. I usually charge this amount,
Yeah.
but for you guys, I'll put it to this amount because you guys are close to me.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that way you can kind of respect the professional aspect of what you do, but at the same time,
respect the connection. And
yes, respect the connection as well. And I mean, depending on you and how far you want to make that difference in discount, I mean, some people will give it for free. For me, I think they should support you because I mean, imagine becoming a really really big host, and then later on when you have the choice to say, okay, actually I'm good with money now. I can give it to you for free talaga.
Yeah.
Plus I have all the experience.
Yeah.
Let them kind of help you build that career so that eventually
Yeah.
it returns to you in the long run.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you keep improving on your craft? Like example, I would always relate anything creative to like athletics because athletics I feel like it's a more concrete way of understanding.
Yeah.
Like if you wanna stay at the top of your game, you have to keep exercising,
For sure.
conditioning. Ganun.
For sure.
When it comes to this creativity, do you do like drawing exercises and like mind exercises? What's your process?
Well, because right now in the studio that I co-founded with a couple of my friends, actually most of the tasks that I do aren't actually related to the actual client work. It's really more of managing, the closing deals, doing a lot of the
okay.
paperwork. But at the same time, I also have to make sure that I'm on top of my game creatively so
Yeah.
that I can properly advise and properly guide the other designers so that they also know that okay, at least he's still relevant. He's not just doing all the paperwork.
Yeah.
But obviously I can't impose what I want to do on these designers. So I think it's really just more of making sure that on the side I'm still doing logo designs. I have a couple of gigs from friends.
So it's doing the work.
It's doing the work,
Okay.
and parang the way that I would say it, it's really more of like moonlighting my personal work.
Sorry, what does it mean to moonlight?
Moonlight? Oh, I guess just like after hours.
Oh, okay.
Everything that you can't do within the office or the studio. For myself, since it's at the end of the day my craft, parang making sure that the style that I want to do, even if it's not related to the studios, it's still up to date, relevant, still fast when it comes to executing, so that I'm satiated with the kind of work that I want to do. And when it comes to the studio, it's not like I have this insecurity of wanting to do the work in the studio or making the designers kind of see that vision. Parang I'm good na. I've done that work after hours. Yeah, I've kind of relinquished all that insecurity so that when coming into the studio, it's like really bringing out the visions of the other designers and just putting my input of okay, let's bring out your ideas more rather than me saying I haven't done my work yet. Sige, let's bring out my ideas now. But it shouldn't be like that. You should always have an outlet for the stuff that you want to do, and then for the teamwork, you should obviously bring out the ideas from the team.
How big is this team? Can you tell us more about the studio?
Yeah, okay, so super exciting thing that happened like over a year ago. I've always wanted to open up a studio with a couple of my friends, and I came from ad agency, didn't really vibe with it only because it was toxic. I mean, I learned a lot, but I guess the lifestyle wasn't really for me.
Yeah,
and
I hear that it's really intense.
Yeah. I mean, the late hours and then the really short lead times. It's really difficult, and then for certain personalities it works, but for me personally, I really prefer soothing the creative process. So just talked to my friend. I was like, hey man, I have no other options. You wanna is there anything that you want me to do for your company? I could totally freelance. So he's like, no dude, let's start a studio. I was like, what, are you serious? And he's like, yeah, let's do it. And then we found other people who also wanted to start a studio, and the nice thing was,
Were these people all from ad agencies?
they all had, I guess, professional experience, or I mean, some of them studied abroad for creative professions like advertising and graphic design, architecture. The other partners that we have, they got into multimedia, so photo and video, and also in web design. And more or less, they all had professional experience. But the nice thing about coming together was that everyone had a different specialty. So it was kind of like Captain Planet. We all had our own rings. And like Avengers, we had our own specialties. Super cool. And the nice thing is we never really argue when it comes to work. It's more like we trust everyone else's specialty, and it's really more of when a client
So it's kind of like puzzle pieces that just kind of fit in together.
It's so great. So
how many are you in this team now?
So we started off with 6. Now we're I think around 15 or 16.
And do you have an office or is it?
Yeah, we have a studio in Magallanes.
Oh.
Yeah. Check it out, guys. It's Pino Studio. You can check it out on Instagram, pinostudio.ph, and If you want to look at the websites, pino.ph.
How do you spell Pino?
Pino, like Filipino. You know,
That's where it came from.
no, it actually means refined in Tagalog. Or polished. And if you see a lot of our works, we really want to emphasize the idea of international finish, but a lot of local and cultural ideas.
I think it's nice. Yeah, it's like a movement now that it's more, people are being more open about, like, kasi when you say, oh, galing America or whatever, that's the standard eh.
Yeah,
but now it's like bringing the Filipino standard up na.
For sure.
Yeah, we're on our end.
Jollibee is a great example.
Oh,
like bringing something local but pushing it to an international stage. I mean, Filipinos have great ideas. I think we just get caught up in a lot of other things, like what you see on the news, politics, pollution, corruption. Those are the things.
There are other good things rather than Manny
I mean,
Pacquiao's fighting.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, there are so many other Filipinos who are kind of like breaking in the scene, and also places as well, like Siargao.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going to Siargao. And the Philippines has so much potential, and I think, like, you know, with the Philippines modernizing, especially Manila, and like a lot of people becoming more educated through social media or through education, like, people know, and people aren't going to be fooled at the idea that Philippines can stay at this level. Like, people know there's a level up that's gonna happen eventually.
Example, imagine you're talking to someone like really young, like you, when you didn't know yet now you wanted to be a graphic designer. Because there are some kids who would want to do what you do, but then they're not good at drawing, not good at art.
Right.
Does somebody have to have the eye for art, or is it something you believe that it can be really trained and improved on, that just because you're not good at drawing at an early age, you can't do it?
So is this like nature versus nurture kind of?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
wait, nature, that would be what you're born with, like genetics, ganun.
or more or less, let's say, like at a very, very early age, you were showing signs of creativity, like you would elicit interest in color and whatnot, versus maybe like starting it when you're in college. And I think, for me, I personally believe that everyone is creative, whether you're in business, whether you're like whether you're an athlete, or whether you're actually in the creative industry. More or less, you're creative. And I think the way that you see people are creative is that they can kind of create options where there are none. Parang you can innovate within a certain industry. For me, that's still creativity. Even if you're not an artist that picks up, a paintbrush or a pencil, that's still creative for me.
There's so many forms.
There's so many forms of it. I mean, like, for example, like Elon Musk, I think he's creative. I think, but I'm pretty sure he's probably not going to like actually sketch out the design for a car. He probably has people to do that. But the fact that he can think of new ideas and populate new spaces, that makes him an artist for me. And it's really just more of, like, we can say that everyone is kind of born creative. It's really more of how do you cultivate your sense of creativity. I think anyone can do that. You just have to be aware that maybe there are different fields for creativity. How do you contribute ideas? And from there, it's really a matter of, focusing on that craft and building it.
So it goes back to the children's lessons, the piano and the singing and everything.
Exactly.
Wow, full circle.
Thank your parents, guys, because they're the ones who kind of, give you those options to choose and be creative, and,
It's something you realize when you get older na parang, okay, buti na I was forced to do this thing even when I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, last na. What was that story you were gonna say about your dad?
Okay.
When you were young.
Oh my god, yeah. Okay, so I think, looking back, one of the reasons that I was super motivated to get back into design, or at least pursue it as a professional thing. I remember a story that I came across when I was a young kid. My dad, he bought this humongous canvas. I forget the size. It was probably like, I would probably say 3 feet by 6 feet. Really big.
Tall dude by a kid. And that's
yeah, it's huge. It was huge. So he put it on like the table, and then he started sketching. And I seriously remember the form super clearly. It was 2 parents hugging a kid, a boy, playing soccer. I don't know if that was me. I don't know if that was my brother.
They were hugging the kid playing soccer.
Like he was in a uniform.
So were they playing soccer too?
It was probably after a soccer game.
Okay.
So
I can imagine like the kids.
Yeah. So you could see that the kid, he's facing away from like the viewer of the painting.
Okay.
And then you see the parents just hugging him.
Okay.
And so I could see him sketching it, and I thought to myself, that's amazing. I want to see how it turns out.
Okay.
And then a couple of weeks after, I was like looking for the painting. I was like, hey, like, did you ever finish that thing? And then for some reason, I don't know, maybe I should bring this up, but he was like, what painting? I don't remember that. And then it always made me think, is like, art should never be unfinished. And for me, it's kind of like, whenever I get into art, I should never put it in that state of, it's not done. I need to finish this artwork because I need to see it in its full fruition, because that feeling that I had of looking at the unfinished painting of my dad left kind of like a void. The beauty of art is not in the idea, it's about the execution. So I don't know, maybe it had a subconscious effect on like me really wanting to finish a lot of the things that I want to do, seeing it in its entirety, fully appreciating it, seeing it in the world, especially for design, that thing just kind of like motivated me, that small story to finish, right? Super.
So until now, you don't know.
I don't know what happened to that painting.
But that's nice, Like you had that. So parang you're always gonna meet your deadlines. You're always gonna finish your work because you have that parang inner drive.
Yeah, I have to. Parang it sucks not being able to see it done.
Yeah.
So yeah, gotta finish everything.
Okay. So thanks for your time, man. Thank you for sharing
awesome.
your story. I hope we get to host together.
Oh yes, better hosts.
Yeah. All right. That concludes my interview with Rocky. I'd like to thank you again for your time. And Rocky's a very intelligent, although on the outside, and how I first met him, jokester siya, very magago and very makulit. But
he has a worse twang.
Yeah. No, he studied in international school growing up in
why.
Malaysia. Yes. He's a very intelligent person, and lots of cadsters, people who had the chance of working with him, you see it not just through his work, which is also one of the things that pushed me to have this discussion with him, to have this interview, this episode with him, because we see his work, I see his work ethic, I hear about it, but then to really dissect his
Martin
brain
of Brandem also worked with him.
I mentioned it
collaborations. And for those parents and children who'd like to learn more about this and be more comfortable about having creative work as your source of income, I suggest you read this book. It's called Real Artists Don't Starve. Maganda talaga siya.
By
Jeff Goins.
Okay.
By Jeff Goins. The main thing about that, it will appease the fears of parents na gutom lang ang aabutin mo dyan, anak.
Kasi we see nga yung mga artists, like example, Rocky, successful, making a living for himself, but syempre there's a journey to reach there, and kailangan yung support.
And there's a process also.
Yes.
The mindset. Ang ganda eh. Tapos trinace niya in history from yung sina Michelangelo.
Yeah, and it gave me a clearer and a different perspective also in the whole creative process, in how he deals with it and how he handles this creative process. Because we think na it's something that you just see in your dreams, you're just born with it. No, this is a skill that can and has to be practiced and enhanced to stay at the top of your game.
Okay.
Alright, so thank you again for listening to that episode of
Mom and Son Podcast. This is Rose Press Fausto, also known as FQ Mom.
And Anton Fausto's son. Bye guys! Mom and Son Podcast airs every Tuesday at 7 a.m. or anytime at your convenience, and can be streamed on Spotify, Buzzsprout, Apple iTunes, Google Podcasts, and YouTube. Just search Mom and Son Podcast for your weekly dose of family, finance, passions, and everything in between. For all questions and suggestions on topics or people to interview, email us at antonfausto@gmail.com.